because I do 1,300 crunches and sit-ups 4 times a week.
What's a dose? Can you translate for us?
Winner of the gold medal and the champion golfer of the year is Ernie Els.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, or good morning, or good afternoon, depending on when you're listening to this. Welcome back to the Goat Track, the podcast about golf and golf-adjacent stuff, mostly from Africa, kicking off a 2-ball tonight with the one and only Tucky Tatham, who actually played some golf this weekend. Tucky, how are you? And talk us through your game of golf.
T, I'm very well, very well. It's from a wet and rainy Hillcrest, but yes, I did get out on the golf course. I did play Cotswold Downs on Saturday. Interesting story. Myself and my partner nearly killed me on the second hole at Cotswold Downs. Our golf cart lost its traction going down one of the hills.
Oh, jeez.
We did a full 180 on the dewy grass, and it was pretty nerve wracking. But we managed to get through that, and I played nicely on the front. I shot 38 on the front, and then it was a horrendous back nine. A little 10-shot swing. So I think there's a lot of work to be done. As JDV said to me, I need a few more competitive reps. I think that's it. It just fell apart on the last sort of six holes.
Yeah, Tucky, when I saw that scorecard of yours, I tell you, I did have a chuckle because I can't tell you how many times I've done the old 10-shot swing, like the old 37-47 or, the old 40-50. It's almost like a trademark of mine. So it was pretty cool to see someone else sort of nodding their cap to that scoreline. I feel you. And it's worse when your lower nine is the first one, because you start getting ahead of yourself. Yeah.
I'll tell you the wheels, and when those wheels start coming off, the bolts come out very quickly and then they run away. Those wheels are gone. When you get on that double bogey train on the back nine, unfortunately, there's very little that's stopping it.
Sure. Well, when you said you had an incident with the cart, I thought you must have been a bit nervous after seeing that video from those guys at Pinnacle Point, basically like going over the edge of a cliff.
We did. We spoke about that afterwards. Look, ours was harrowing, but it was absolutely nothing like that. My word.
I tell you, I'm just very glad that those people were actually relative. I mean, I know they were injured badly, but that there was no loss of life there, because that cart was shunting it. For those of you listening who haven't seen that video, I have no idea how I would share it with you, but there was a video going around on the WhatsApp groups of a golf cart way out of control at Pinnacle Point, allegedly. Very, very harrowing stuff. So yeah, take it easy out there, guys. It's all fun and games until someone loses an arm. Well, judging by the score that he entered on the Handicaps app, I believe Hoff played lots of golf this weekend as well. And there was also lots of golf on TV, Tucky. The international team got boat raced once again in Montreal. And then the Spanish Open had a really epic finish with a real unknown Spaniard taking down Rahm in a playoff. I'm not sure if you saw that. The 18th hole on that course was epic. It was like a drivable par 4. It reminded me of DCC. It was a really cool playoff. Guys came down. Guy had a putt to win it in regulation, and then on the second playoff hole managed to birdie it to beat Rahm, which was pretty epic for the little unknown Spaniard. I did have a chuckle when in his post-match interview he said that it was really good to beat the most important player from Spain that Spain has produced in the last 30 years, obviously referring to Rahm. I thought that was like a real drive-by on Sergio. Yeah. The fact that he said 30 years, which is like, okay, we're definitely covering Sergio's time here, and he's not talking about Sergio.
I love that. I absolutely love that, because if there's one oak that deserves absolutely zero plaudits or any sort of credit, it's probably Sergio Garcia.
Yeah. I love the fact that Rahm goes back and plays the Spanish Open every single year. I think he's won it 3 times now, And it was really cool, actually. That guy who won, he said that the last time he was at the Spanish Open was he was in the crowd watching Rahm win like 2 years ago, and now he was playing and he beat him. It's cool. It's really, really cool event. Tucky, this weekend is the Alfred Dunhill Links in Scotland. This is a staple event on the DP World Tour. It's, famous for being sort of the European Tour's version of the Pebble Beach Pro-Am, where guys get their family members come and play with them, or there's celebrities that play. Quite a few South African sort of celebrities / rugby players / cricketers that go over there and play. But yeah, it's really a staple. But we thought it would be quite interesting to chat about the kind of the origins of this tournament, because it actually began its life back in 1985. And I think a lot of people might remember this tournament because it was originally known as the Dunhill Cup. It was a team tournament. So it was a country-based tournament. There were 16 countries that used to compete in it. Now, this is where things get a little tricky, because it was not to be confused with the World Cup of golf. Do you recall the World Cup of golf?
Yeah, I do.
Yeah,
I remember that we have won the World Cup of golf, and we won the Dunhill Cup a couple of times as well.
Yes,
my memory takes me back. Jeez, that was a long, long time ago.
So the World Cup of golf was a 2-man event, and it started way back in the 50s, and it was actually like the legit country-based golf event for around 30 years. In fact, it actually continued all the way until 2018, but it sort of lost its momentum sort of in the 80s. They skipped a couple of years in the 80s, and then they revived it. Eventually, it sort of got integrated into the WGC golf events. So, they used to have those events where they sort of try to bring the DP World Tour and but basically all the tours around the world. They had those events in like Mexico and different places. Anyway, the World Cup of golf eventually became that one of those events. But it was really in its heyday was in like the 60s and 70s. That's when, the guys like Jack Nicklaus and Arnold Palmer would play as a team. You had the Black Knights. You had the full crew back then playing. For most of its life, it was still a 72-hole stroke play event. So they used to play 4-ball, and then they would play foursomes. So first day you would play better ball 4-ball with your partner, and then you'd play foursomes, so sort of alternate shot. Yeah, you're right. South Africa won that event 5 times, actually. So Gary Player and Harold Henning won in 65. Our guy Dale Hayes and Bobby Cole, sorry, won in 1974. Ernie and Wayne Westner, that's Hoffs guy, won in 96. Ernie and the Goose won in 2001. And then Trevor and Rory Sabatini, the traitor, won in 2003. Yeah.
Our Slovenian. What is he, Slovenian?
100%. Yeah. Man with many flags on his bags.
But going back. Sorry, just quickly, So we won 5 in however many years, but that's not a bad return for South Africa, I guess. I would assume that the Americans won probably the bulk of those World Golf Championship titles, which must put us sort of up there with the rest of the world.
Yeah, so we actually tied with Australia. I think they also had won 5 by the end of it. We were tied second, and then the US had around 20 titles. Yeah, so also considering, Tucky, that from around probably 77 to 1990, we weren't invited to play. We weren't allowed to play. So there was a period of 13, 14 years then when, we weren't playing. Which also is reflected in what happened in the Dunhill Cup. So just out of interest, just a little sidebar. How familiar are you with the company Alfred Dunhill?
I just know that Dunhill cigarettes, and Alfred Dunhill don't they do clothing and stuff like that? I actually don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, so I did a little bit of a deep dive on Alfred Dunhill earlier over the weekend, and Alfred Dunhill was a guy. He was the original kind of founder of the company, and on Wikipedia they say that he was a tobacconist and an inventor. Those are like his two sort of titles. That would be his like LinkedIn titles. But yeah, he kind of made his kind of founded the business basically on smoking, so on tobacco, and actually interestingly enough, he used to design smoking pipes. So as you know, pipe smoking was the thing back then, which was what you did in the upper classes. Cigarettes were very much not necessarily around, and that's kind of the interesting wrinkle in that he was not one of the first, but he brought sort of mainstream cigarettes to kind of the market. So he developed his own cigarette kind of in his little shop that he opened in London, and started sort of converting pipe smokers to become cigarette smokers. And that was kind of the birth of like the Dunhill brand. Interestingly enough, at one stage they made more money selling lighters than selling cigarettes. So that's kind of an interesting wrinkle as well, as we are joined by JDV. Good evening, JDV. How are you?
Hello, boys. Coming in hot. So shit, that could have been terrible. I mean, imagine my mic or headphones or something weren't working and we were scrambling around trying to get the technical things we get going before the show done there. But yeah, coming in late after freezing my ball sack off running with the dogs.
Well, you're just in time for a history lesson.
You should treat yourself to a little Dunhill cigarette then, and just to warm yourself up.
It's not the 60s anymore.
Well, I was in the middle of a deep dive on Alfred Dunhill with Tucky here. I was talking him through the man himself, Alfred Dunhill. But interestingly enough, Tucky, so his two big inventions were the cigarette, and then he invented a pipe, a smoking pipe, which they used to call it the Shield. And essentially all it was like a normal smoking pipe that had it had a big curve on the front. So it sort of curved over the bowl of where the pipe, where you put your tobacco in. And it was like he was like a bit of a marketing and sales genius, this guy, because he essentially marketed this to people who he said, you can smoke this pipe while you're driving your vehicle. Because obviously we're talking about like the early 1900s now. Cars are obviously very like new things on the market. They're not going particularly fast, but people didn't like the fact that they couldn't smoke their regular pipes while they were in these new cars. We're obviously talking about the kind of elite here. So yeah, he invented this pipe, which he very much marketed to people so they could smoke it while they were driving there, probably at 30 k's an hour max speed back in those days. And anyway, yeah, I mean, essentially built this empire of sort of luxury goods. At one stage, 80% of the Dunhill company's revenue was just from selling butane gas lighters, which is like a phenomenal cash cow if you're looking for one as a business. They invented it like 40 years before, and literally I don't think they changed a thing on it. And then I mean, this is where the South African connection comes in, and that. Johan Rupert's father, Anton Rupert, founded the Rembrandt's luxury goods group, and they purchased the Dunhill Tobacco Company as part of a sort of a conglomerate of tobacco companies, kind of in the 60s, I think, the late 60s. And yeah, they've basically had an interest at eventually the luxury goods and the tobacco companies were kind of separated into BAT, British American Tobacco, and then what is now I think it's still called Rembrandt, which is sort of the luxury goods side of that's kind of the Alfred Dunhill kind of brand side. And then obviously Johan Rupert has always had a very keen interest in golf and that. And so yeah, Dunhill they've been sponsoring this event essentially since the Dunhill Cup started in 1985. Interestingly enough, I didn't realize this, but Anton Rupert actually started out his empire making his own cigarettes like in his garage at home. That's like
rolling his own ciggies.
Literally rolling his own cigarettes that's how the Rupert Empire was founded. Like it's an interesting synergy that he has with Alfred Dunhill himself. So yeah, anyway, that's the history lesson over.
That was very interesting. I'm not gonna lie. I didn't actually realize that Anton Rupert was so heavily involved from that perspective. I knew that they were involved in luxury goods. I didn't actually know that they were that involved in purchasing Alfred Dunhill and that sort of thing. So learn something new every day. Every day is a school day, T.
Yeah. So the I think the catch there was, well, the play there from them was that, look, they wanted to, obviously golf is sort of considered the sort of, still the upper, the elite kind of sport, and there was a sense that this World Cup of golf that we were speaking about, that it started earlier, was starting to lose momentum. So yeah, the Dunhill Cup started, and it was a 3-man team event. So there were 16 countries, essentially the main golf countries that you could think of, like USA, South Africa, Australia, Ireland, Scotland, England, and then you've got kind of smatterings of other countries that came and went, like Canada, India, essentially, kind of Commonwealth type countries. So they used to play, so the Dunhill Cup, they played match play, but it was medal match play. JDV, you familiar with that format, medal match play?
So what does that mean? Like at the end of your match, you work out who's lower, and that's the person who goes through. So the match is like 18 holes.
Yeah, so you basically, it's basically almost like playing Stableford points. Yes. It's literally whoever has the lowest score at the end of 18 holes is the winner, and you get 1 point for winning your match, basically. So it's not a hole by hole match play, which is kind of sick. Like in some ways, like I know match play is match play is cool because you can be aggressive, and if you lose a hole, then you just move on to the next one. But there is something about maybe mounting like a big comeback in match play, or having a guy having to like hold his nerve and make like a par, on the last hole. I mean, it's not a format that we don't see it's not a format you see at all these days, I don't think.
It just means that you're never out of it. So, I mean, like anything, you play Stableford points and you're looking at a Stableford medal, and you're saying, okay, well, you can still make a 10 on this hole, and I'll make a birdie, and I can overcome, a four shot deficit in one hole. Whereas match play, 3 and 2 done and dusted. I mean, however slim that sliver of hope might be on the 18th, it's still there, I suppose, in that format. But can the guys give putts and the rest of it in that format? I mean, I suppose you wouldn't be putting out. You could say, oh, that's good, throughout.
I don't think so. I'm pretty sure you're hitting cups. I don't know. I honestly can't remember. I very vaguely remember watching the Dunhill Cup on TV. So I don't know whether they were giving putts. Honestly, I don't know. I think one of the most awesome things about this Dunhill Cup for the first 6 years, so until 1991, they used to play, it was like a full-on knockout format. So it was basically like tennis. There was no like round robin. It was first round, you played your match. If you lost on day one, that was it. You were maybe you spent the next 2 days in the pub or something, or you caught the early flight home. But it was so it was quite brutal that way. Obviously, there's 3 matches, so each country has 3 players, and you're playing head to head. And if matches couldn't be tied, so if the match was tied, then you would go to a playoff until someone won. So that's kind of how they did the tiebreakers. So, guys, 1991 was the last year they did that knockout format. It was also the first year that South Africa were allowed to play again after being in isolation. The South African team consisted of John Bland, David Frost. Can you tell me who the third golfer was on that team without Googling it?
No. Give us a clue.
I can't give you a clue. What did you say?
Gary Player.
It was Gary Player. It was Gary Player.
I thought he had mentioned him every single part. It had to be him.
Of course, it had to.
He was 56 years old, and he was selected to lead the team. So there was look, I've tried to find a bit of like news or press around this. Obviously, no sports journalists in the early 90s are going to write ill of Mr. Gary Player, but possibly the sentiment was that this was a little bit of a sentimental pick because of the fact that South Africa had been in isolation for so long during possibly some of Gary Player's prime years, and it was almost like a bit of a nod to say thanks, Gary. And so he led the team out there. Just out of interest, at this stage, Ernie Els was 22 and was basically, it was very obvious that he was like the next shit-hot player to come out of South Africa. Not 100% sure how Ernie wasn't on the team. Any ideas how South Africa did that year?
Probably did all right.
I would say pretty well.
Considering we had a guy in his late 50s. Guys, we came second that year.
Never.
We came second with Gary playing our team, and in the final match against Sweden, David Frost won his match. John Bland lost his match. Gary Player tied his opponent after 18 holes, and lost in a sudden death playoff to lose the trophy. The player that he lost to was 26 years younger than him. His name was Mats Lanner from Sweden. They lost to the Swedish, unfortunately, in the final. But how's that? So Gary taking it down the line to the end at 56 years old. I mean, you got to give it to him. He's
Guys,
what a character. I can imagine.
I can imagine that still beats him up. I reckon he wakes up every morning and thinks about that 91 Dunhill Championship that he lost in the playoff at 56 years old.
I actually have a picture here which I want to show you guys of Gary. Have you got that?
Yeah. So I feel like I've seen that before.
Yeah,
that's Gary shaking Mats Lanner from Sweden's hand, who was I think he was 28 at the time, and Gary's
I think
56.
Maybe just to explain that, it's a 56-year-old looking Gary Player in a sleeveless maroon jersey, and a very Swedish looking, probably 6 foot guy with his gloves still on. So you reckon he was putting with the glove on there, but also in a very low cut V-neck jersey, but with a turtleneck
and a polo neck.
So,
I love that.
It's serious early 90s style, which is great.
I'm kind of giving the best dress there to Gary. He's looking dapper, and that's what do we call that? Burgundy? Is that like a sleeveless burgundy jumper?
But I see the jumper with the polo neck underneath is obviously the in style there, because they're both rocking it.
Yeah. But anyway, I thought that was an amazing little wrinkle to South African golf history. Of course, the following year, Ernie was in the team and Gary Player was out. But yeah, what a run from the big guy. And of course it was knockout. So you can imagine those matches. Every single one of those matches are fairly tense. I actually really love that format. So in 1997, eventually the South African team of Ernie, Goose, and David Frost finally won the Dunhill Cup. And they would go back to back, also winning in 1998. I remember both of those victories, actually. Yeah,
I also remember that.
I distinctly remember watching this on TV, and it felt like the first time I'd ever really watched team golf. Like I have no memories of watching the Ryder Cup or anything kind of before the year 2000. So distinctly remember that. Remember the guys with the SA flag on that, because it was always played at St Andrews as well. That was another special thing about this event, is it was always played on the old course. Of course, that's also why now the Dunhill Links Championship is played across all those courses up around St Andrews, but they finish on the Sunday on the old course. Spain would win 99 and 2000 with the young Sergio Garcia, and that would be it for the Dunhill Cup. Sadly, in 2001 they changed it into more or less its current format, sort of as like a pro-am. I'm not sure actually when the amateurs started playing, or the celebrities, put it that way, in it, but that's more or less been the format ever since. So anyway, I thought you guys would enjoy that little trip down memory lane. And I think with the President's Cup, that we've just had this weekend, and that it's got me thinking quite a bit about how, about team golf, and obviously how special it is. And I don't know, like I kind of going around the horn here. What are your guys' thoughts on team golf, like from a country perspective, and like, would you like to see something like this making a comeback? How do you feel about this sort of international team, this very broad blanket that's been thrown over like basically the rest of the world to play under one umbrella? I'm gonna throw it around to you guys. JDV, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so I think, I mean, in an ideal world, it would be fantastic, especially in this. But again, if it had the prestige, I think the issue is that you can only then, in that instance, have one American team, and there's a shit ton of American professional golfers. I would be, and it's a tricky one because I know, and I'm sure I'm going to get called out for this, but from like a squash perspective, the interprovincial sort of cup that they have, which is called Jarvis, there's five players in each province, and there used to be a rule that you could have one international play for you. So maybe it is a situation where you can say, look, you can have, maybe America can have a couple of states that can play if you want to play it like that way. Or you could even have some of the countries that have got two really good golfers saying, okay, and we'll bring in an American golfer or another international to play for our country for this competition, similar to what Jarvis did. The nice thing is then you get, like in South Africa, we had the best squash players coming through playing essentially like a provincial team squash event. And they loved it because they were like, well, we don't, the international Egyptian players and the rest of it were saying, well, we don't have, a team event that we play. We play individually the whole year. And, now we get to, Kareem Gawad, who was the number one, Diego Elias, Paul Cole, all of these are like top players. We're playing for like country districts and KwaZulu-Natal and the rest of it, and like playing at the Westfield court. So, but they loved it as well.
It was like the live of squash.
100%. And the problem is it started becoming a bit unsustainable because like the entire subs of each province was going to pay these international players to come play Jarvis. But yeah, I think something like that. I can't
believe why my subs are so much this year.
Yeah, exactly. It's like why I literally don't play league or anything, but I'm paying 5,000 rand a year to KZN squash, and we're getting the number one player in the world to come play Jarvis. No, it never got that bad. But I think something like that might work if you could sort of create a brand around national teams, but have like Andy Good came and played for Natal, whatever the case might be. Have that sort of, not like this is the South African team, as in like a national team. It's like this is a South African, I don't know, branded team.
I understand that argument, like just in terms of how many good players there are in America, and how you want to have the best players playing, as many of the best players as you can possible. But like in a sort of international event, I feel like if I'm representing South Africa, and for example I have Colin Morikawa playing for the South African team, I think it sort of dilutes our brand. So I think that maybe that's just the issue that America have, and they've got to deal with it somehow. They've got to pick however many players you have. Let's say you have to pick 3 or 4. They've just got to pick the best 4.
But Tucky, I think, if you say, look, you're still going to have, let's call it, it's not a 3-man team. It doesn't have to be a 3-man team. It could be like a squad. You could have 6 players, and one of them's an international. And I put that in inverted commas because it's read in there American. But maybe a place like England or somewhere like that might have, a couple of players who get drafted in to play for, I don't know, Thailand or whatever the case is. Maybe not Thailand. They've got some pretty good golfers. But I think if you put it that way, and for me, I think it would give you more to cheer for if, maybe not South Africa. We wouldn't need to lean on the American golfers to come and fill our squad up. But some of the smaller countries that maybe didn't have that depth, you know, it's quite a lacquer way to expose yourself to, and for the Americans to also sort of expose their sort of global view to say, okay, well, it's not all about just playing for America. You know, that would genuinely be like growing the game. And, you know, now I go back to that squash example. I watch some of the players who played in Jarvis, and you've got like almost like an actual connection, having seen these guys play, or, you know, and the guys that have played in teams with them. You know, you all of a sudden have this, you know, for their brand, you've got now an international following, and especially in a country that you might have, you know, been representing, you've got like a serious like following there where the guys are supporting you. And I don't know, I think if you look beyond it, you have to figure out a way to include as many of the best golfers as you can into it if you wanted to succeed.
Yeah, no, I agree with you. I was just thinking in terms of like how you would roll out a competition like this, like international team competition. Like, the golf calendar is so jammed as it is, and now obviously you've got 3 tours where your best players are all playing on. It's like, how would you try and work out a schedule where you could get this tournament played, or whether, I don't know, whether you did it over a period of time where you had like almost like a league phase where you had like a ranking system of how the guys did. I don't know whether that would be playing against each other, or whether, like, I don't know if you could use guys' rankings and points. I don't know if that would work, but like it just seems like something. There's a lot to think about if you would try to sort of set this tournament up. I don't know how you would do it from a logistics perspective.
JDV, I just want to jump in here. I kind of want to push back a little bit against what you're saying, because I think we're talking about 2 very different things here. Like I think a team golf event doesn't necessarily have to have every single one of like the best players in the world there. You know, if 10 of the best 20 players in the world are from the USA, it just isn't practical to ensure that every single one. It's a bit like the Olympics, you know, when we were having the Olympics pod. To me, it's a very separate type of event. You know, that's kind of what the majors and that are for. I think this is you want to have a lot of the best golfers in the world, but this is a very, very different format. And to me, it's completely more about that kind of team element. And then, Tucky, what I would be saying is, I think, you know, the way the schedule and that's going, I think they already have a platform now to put something like this together, which is actually the Olympics. You know, like at the next Olympics, you know, I think it would be crazy if there wasn't a team format. You know, it's just suicide. I think everyone in the golf world is kind of calling out for it, and it would be so interesting to have it. It's also, for me, is kind of less is more. You know, if you know, this Dunhill Cup was played, and the World Cup of golf was played every single year. You know, which is great from a viewership perspective in that. But you know, if you make it sort of slightly more specialized and less frequent, there's something really special about that. Like you were saying, you know, with the Olympics, and how winning even the individual Olympic medal now is going to become really quite a special thing, because it only happens every 4 years. At the Go Track, we have started a collaboration with Wonderpar, the golf app, the free app that rewards you for simply playing golf by spending time on the golf course. You can earn Wonder tokens, which you can use to purchase golf offers and experiences. They also offer Wonderpar course boosts. So as some of you will remember, members of our home courses, so that would be Gowrie Farm and Cotswold Downs in KZN, as part of our partnership, we have boosted these courses on behalf of the Go Track for all our listeners. So anyone who plays these courses, you'll earn roughly 60 Wonder tokens, which I think we calculated last time, Jacques, is around 30 Rand per round of using the app. So that's pretty decent. We do plan on boosting more courses across the country as the Go Track membership grows. Wonderpar, set foot on any golf course and watch your wallet grow. The question I kind of posed, and you guys kind of sidestepped it a little bit, but like, as much as they're trying to create this international team with the President's Cup, and I just can't buy into being under like a one banner of like the rest of the world, you know. And I know Ernie and Trevor have done a hell of a lot of good with trying to get guys behind this black and gold and the shield and whatever. But like, I just like, I don't know about you guys, but I just haven't like fully, like I just can't fully buy into it, you know.
Well,
I can squint a little bit and get there, but yeah.
The Dunhill Shield is the Dunhill Shield marketing. Do you reckon there's a throwback there as to why the internationals wanted to get behind the Shield branding? It's a bit of a hangover from the 1900s.
Exactly, yeah. They should have
pushed by two South Africans as well, by Ernie Els and Trevor Immelman, really pushed the Shield branding.
Exactly.
So.
Yeah, that's probably.
I was
I'm sure Johan Rippert's got something to do with it.
Yeah, we were talking about it on our group, but like there's just nothing there for me. Just watching the guys like get fired up or what, like it just seems so put on and so acted out. Like there's just no, like it just doesn't feel like there's much passion there. And I don't know who mentioned it, but like they spoke about the Canadian crowd probably wasn't the greatest and most sort of like hostile environment for a golf tournament. But like when you saw, was it Siwoo Kim who was doing the celebration where he was going the night celebration or whatever it was, and then like Wyndham Clark got involved, and I was still like, you know what, just not doing anything for me.
But Terence,
yeah, 100%, Tucky. Sorry, JDV. Sorry, I'm sharing with you guys the shield pipe.
The shield. That should have been the actual logo. It should have just been a pipe and not the shield.
The shield pipe is what they should have had on the internationals shirts. Look, Tucky, as much as I can't get behind the international thing, it's still cool having team golf on TV, right? So like,
yeah.
Even though I can't fully buy into the whole international prospect, I still love watching team golf. And I mean, I said this earlier this year, it's like it's one of the only live events that I watch the whole year is like the end of year live team event, because it's match play and it's a great format, until for some reason live like they'd stop playing match play on the last day, which just blows my mind as well. But team golf is cool. Like, and I maybe it's cool because we only get it like infrequently. I don't know, but it definitely is a lot more interesting than watching the same like 72 hole stroke play golf every week. JDV, sorry, you were gonna.
So firstly, just I'm gonna die with the take that I've just come up with on the fly about having American or international players play for other countries. But the one thing I wanted to say is I think I 100% agree with you in terms of what the Olympics should be in terms of team match play. And that's where I think you get your full in terms of having an actual, national team event should be the Olympics. That should be your World Cup of golf, and that should be the pinnacle of team golf in terms of, your national, your playing. When we're looking at like a World Cup of golf, I think we need to look broader than, like a Cricket World Cup or a Rugby World Cup. And you need to look at it maybe, as you were saying, like a World League. And you use this sort of the branding of what Liv has tried to do, where they've got the Australian team and the sort of Spanish teams and the South African team, and maybe build around that. Like one team is built around, players that play in a certain state in America. Maybe, you try and group them geographically, but it's not that national team playing, and you play it more as a world league. If you look, there's an article at the moment on Golf Week by Eamon Lynch, where he's talking now just about this fall season and exactly what we've been talking about PGA Tour, and they've become they're protecting their tour so much to the detriment of, global golf, that the Americans don't seem to be able to see past their nose that the whole world doesn't necessarily want to wake up at fucking 1 o'clock in the morning to watch the final round of a golf thing on a Sunday night. And maybe that's sort of where Liv gets it right, but I mean, they don't seem to have the numbers to back it up. But if you then said, right, in this fall season where, America, you've had 60 to 70% of, the global golf that's been going on, let's take this league now, this global league situation where guys are playing team golf. You don't have to play every match because you've got a squad that you can rotate and you can create these brands around it. Then I think you could do it. And maybe you even look at, as you say, you have this like World Cup format, I mean, sort of goes back to what I was saying, where you're saying, well, less is more. So you alternate it year on year and do 1 year with the ladies and 1 year with the men, sort of what they do with Ryder Cup and the Solheim Cup. So yeah, that was my final pushback on your pushback. I was the double push.
I know lawyers always want to get the last word in, so it's I'm very used to that. Well, a thought that I had, guys, is, you know, we possibly stuck with some of these team competitions, and you know, the biggest, as we know, the biggest team rivalry without a doubt is obviously the Ryder Cup. You know, they've somehow, the Europeans have sort of galvanized as a I guess a continent in some ways. And something that struck me, I think it was about a couple of weeks ago, before one of the live events, the Stingers and the Rippers put out some social media content where they basically had a Stingers versus Rippers like match. I didn't watch too many of the clips in that, but I saw quite a few clips coming out, and I think the Stingers eventually won it, and the other Rippers had to, like, they had some sort of forfeit or whatever. And you know, it struck me that these are two, and Tucky, as we said earlier, you know, the Australia and South Africa, I think, firstly, Australia and South Africa are tied for the most major championship wins besides the USA. I think we tied in second place, and obviously England, but you got to exclude, like, when the British Open was only played by British Oaks for like 100 years. You know, obviously they racked up quite a few majors then. But I think since the 50s or 60s, I think South Africa and Australia are tied on major championship wins. And then we were tied in that World Cup of golf. So you're talking about two serious golfing powerhouses, relatively speaking, in the world. And let's be honest, like, we're two massive rivals when it comes to all sports, you know. And I was thinking to myself, like, why couldn't we start up our own version of almost like the Ashes of golf between South Africa and Australia? So maybe this happens like every second year. So maybe it's when the Ryder Cup is on. You put together a South African team, and I don't know what the format is. I don't think it's 12 players. I think that's a lot. I think it's maybe six. I think it's maybe 6 players, maybe 8. I don't know. And you go to Australia, and we have a proper, like, 3-day, like, intense, like, match play competition. And 2 years later, Australia come to South Africa, and imagine like the crowd, like the crowds that would go and watch that, like the crowd support. Like, why do we need to rely on waiting for the Americans to make a decision around like the president? I mean, the Americans own the President's Cup. Like, it's not even an event that's owned by any internationals. It's owned by the frickin' PGA Tour, you know. And the Ryder Cup, you know, why don't the guys? And I think the guys now who've made so much cash and live, the South Africans and the Aussies, they've got the perfect platform to come together and maybe start up like an entity that does this. You know, every second year they play for this epic trophy, almost like, I don't know, what do we play for now against New Zealand? What is it, the Freedom Cup or whatever? I thought about maybe making it like a rugby championship thing with like Argentina and New Zealand, but I don't know. Maybe we just leave those guys out for now.
Yeah.
And you just start this like a rivalry, because the two countries always produce good golfers. You're always going to have a good competition, and you're always going to have a bit of needle between the countries. And like, how epic would that be every 2 years to have this awesome, like, and let's say in South Africa, we would know, okay, every 4 years, we're going to have this match. We take it to like really good golf courses. Yes, the crowds would be mad. Like, guys would turn up for that. I think on both sides, like in Oz and in South Africa.
Yeah.
Yes, Terence.
That's my 2 cents.
You've got me so flipping psyched for that idea. I'm like sitting here being like, I'm like, yeah. So how long before this happens? Like, I'm super excited to go watch SA play Oz.
Yeah,
who's the commissioner? Who's going to be in charge?
Well, but I also, Terence, I love the idea that you're saying to the Live Oaks have enough cash and clout now to be like, okay, well, we've negotiated essentially our shorter season, and now we're gonna, you know, and they can set up a very nice little financial model, you know, similar to what the PGA Tour does with the President's Cup and creating that brand, to just be like, okay, well, this is it. This is, you know, the next big match that we're gonna do, and it's gonna be, not only bringing good golf, good competitive golf, but like, yes, I think that'll generate a good amount of money, a good amount of exposure, and it'll be flipping epic. I'm like super behind this idea. I think it's an awesome idea.
You could sell the TV rights.
Yeah.
You could sell the TV rights to the US. I think pretty easily. I don't know if I would probably be a little against it being like a live thing. It must be.
No, I'm saying the live oaks must use their live cash to fund this whole
bankroll it. Yeah.
What does it? Yeah. Well, yeah. So it'll be like Saudi adjacent. It'll be through the South African players.
The Saudis are definitely involved, but that's fine.
Yeah, I think I'm 100% on board with this. I think you need to, you need to protect your intellectual property on this one, because there might be some people listening. JDV, from a legal perspective, what do we do?
Legally, we just cut that whole part of the discussion out and we shelve it for when we pitch to someone else.
Well, Tucky, you're going to be chatting with the commissioner of the Sunshine Tour. You've got an interview coming up with him for the Goat Track. So, we can start planting the seed. I think all we're asking for is like 10% equity in the, in the entity.
Just 10% equity for this idea.
Happy to do some on-course commentary. I'm happy to walk around with one of those like belts with the little radio, and like the clicker. Yeah.
Can we get our logo? Can we get our logo somewhere as well?
Definitely.
Yeah. Get our logo painted onto the onto one of the greens or something like that. Anyway, I just think like we're sitting here in South Africa and like, I don't know, there's a whole podcast, Tucky, I'm putting you in charge of this episode that I thought about the other day, but there has to be a podcast episode around why do we not have any like major international sports events in this country anymore? Because I see the President's Cup is going back to Australia again in a couple of years' time. They had it like 2 years ago. We haven't there's basically been nothing in this country since the Soccer World Cup, let's be honest, outside of just, our regular like home internationals and that. So yeah, I look forward to hearing your podcast on that subject. Yeah. But why are we waiting? Let's just do our own thing, because the Aussies will be keen. South Africans will be keen. You'll be able to sell the TV rights. Golf Saudi will be keen. I'm sure Gary Player will be keen. Let's be honest. All 7 of him in the different provinces will awaken to the prospect.
I was thinking from the team's perspective. You have 6, and then you have like 2 like proper rookies. So like 2, like if you're getting guys like straight at varsity over in the States or whatever, but you get guys that haven't played any sort of international professional golf, like proper amateurs, to come into the team.
It'd be so sick. I think you need 8 players probably. And I think both countries easily has 8 like very, very good golfers. We could probably name them now, but I don't think we're going to do that. Guys, is there anything else you wanted to get off your chests? This was just a bit of a shoot the breeze episode. Wanted to always try and inform our listeners, so try to put a few nuggets in the beginning. But anything else you want to get off your chests? Tucky, obviously it's disappointing that you've had a penalty issued against you on the handicap system. I'm sorry about that, but I believe you may have a back channel into the app.
Yeah, no, I've definitely, I know some people or a person who can get me in there. I've had an absolute nightmare with my HNA app, but it's up and running as of today. So we'll get that backdated, get the score in there, get my handicap pushed out again, hopefully. But then we back out again on Saturday. I'm playing again this weekend. It's 2 in a row. When it rains, it pours.
Amazing.
JDV doesn't want to play on Saturday.
I am playing on Saturday. I've got my semi-final knockout match, so I'm very much there. But the one thing I wanted to get off I don't know if you guys discussed it. I don't know if you've looked at the entry list for the Dunhill, but they've actually got the guys' clubs that they play for, and it's super interesting seeing all the different like actual golf clubs that these guys are affiliated to. There's one South African oak from Dundee Country Club, and I don't know if that's actual like KZN Dundee or if it's like Australian Dundee.
No, that's right. Louis Albertse. He's from
yes.
He went to my class. Yeah. He
Wow.
plays out of Dundee.
So yeah, you're looking at some of these ones, and then I was like, hang on, Dundee Golf Club, surely not. But yeah, it's pretty sweet. So, I mean, then you've got like obviously the live oaks like Stinger, and then you can see guys. So it must be where you affiliated with the handicap. So a lot of the guys are sort of part of their golf schools, like. But then there's some super interesting
Stinger,
ones.
Can you get an affiliated handicap through Stinger GC, or do they have their like home club on there?
So that's what they say their home club is like Stinger GC. But
Yeah.
I see the other ones. See, like the other live players. I mean, where's
Interesting.
Brooks doesn't have anything. It's just empty there for what his club is. But Dean Burmis is Stinger GC. But then you've also got old Brandon Stone. So I don't know he was Durban Country Club, but that's his home club there is Durban Country Club.
Yeah, his mum's the new general manager there. So I think that's
okay.
That's it. But I see your boy Casey Jarvis doesn't have a club. Maybe we need
need to recruit him.
Does he not have a club on that list?
Club. Nope.
Listen, Oaks, it's hot and cold for Casey at the moment, so maybe the club fees are a bit too much for him, the levies. But a shame. The Oakers, like, he had a pretty good finish at the. It wasn't at the BMW. It was cheapers. Was it the weekend before the BMW at the Irish Open? And then unfortunately, missed the cuts properly at the Spanish Open. I think he was like 12 over after 2 rounds. And I follow his caddy on Instagram, and his caddy was posting pictures from the Madrid airports on Friday night, which is never a good sign, you know.
Yeah, he went 76, 77.
Yeah.
But
there's a really good field, JDV, for the Dunhill links. Just run through like all the top guys who are playing.
So
it's a strong field.
Probably, absolutely. So I mean, if you're looking at some of the players, I mean, you got Rory McIlroy, you got Brooks, you got Louis. I'm just going through. Sorry, there's no particular order. So John Rahm, Tommy Fleetwood, Shane Lowry, Matt Fitzpatrick, Billy Horschel, Tyrrell Hatton. Both the Rasmus is there. Our fake Højgaard twin Norgard is there. It's a Tristan Lawrence. So it's a Brooks. Yeah, I said him. Dean Burmester. So there's a really good field, and it's again when you and I think it's a lot of Rupert's probably influence there, where he's saying no, I'm going to get who I want to play in this event. You're not stopping the Live Oaks from playing this one. And flip, they're playing sick courses, as I'm sure you guys have discussed. But it should be quite a fun watch.
I see Taylor Gooch is on the entry list as well.
Taylor Gooch is there. I mean, there's also Jacques.
But it's also the start.
He's won previously.
So it's the start of the new Ryder Cup cycle, isn't it? It started. When did it start? So the guys, especially the European guys, need to get some early Ryder Cup points, don't they?
Yeah, that's right. That's why John Rahm is also playing in Spain this weekend. That's interesting wrinkle. I didn't realize that. Skalkberger Jr. is also teeing it up. So, look out.
Is it actually Skalkberger? No, man. Is it a different Skalkberger?
No, it's Skalkberger from the rugby player.
Is he playing as, obviously? I was like, hang on.
Not a pro. That's a pro.
He's not playing as a pro, JDV.
Is Samuel L. Jackson playing again? I know he always plays this event.
I know I saw Kelly Slater was playing, Bill Murray.
Bill Murray loves these things.
He loves it, eh? Yeah.
Rory's playing with his dad. It's cool, man. It's a cool event. Like it's one of the events I always watch because you get to see 3 of the really awesome courses in that part of Scotland, and watching golf on. Last year it was like diabolical weather. I mean, obviously this time of year it must be touch and go up there, but last year it was like literally there were like ducks like swimming down the 18th fairway on the old course. It was a proper. It looked like Cotswold does in summer. It was really quite a thing. Guys, flip. There was JDV. We had a bit of a drive-by of Hoff a bit earlier. I saw he had played quite a bit of golf on the weekend.
I actually played with him. It was. I'm going to wait for the man to be here in person. I feel like we can't take default judgment against him in his absence. But look, he had his spirits up. He did say that he would have liked to have left after 9 holes, but his etiquette was better than that, and he stuck it out for better or worse.
Please, can I go home? But to my screaming child, yeah, shame, man. Obviously, no eagles. And how do you think his game's stacking up for the medal challenge?
Terence, not good. I think, I don't know. It could be a big number. I mean, if you think about that 13th that I took some videos on where he blasted 2 OB, and I mean, then he was in the cart basically having a beer. But I mean, you've just got to carry on standing there pounding balls OB until you finally like get one and play. I mean, you could walk away there with like a 25. But yeah, let me not put that seed in there. But yeah, I mean, for part of me is like, I don't like it when I see him playing badly, because I want him to be excited about the game. I mean, it is good content and the rest of it, but I also like, it pains him when he's shooting big numbers. And I know that he's not like super excited to get out there and shoot another big number. But yeah, anyway, I know Hoff will pull himself together and be back out there sometime at the end of next year. Hoff,
we miss you, and we hope your German lessons are going well this evening. Guys, very last order on my list here is just to wish you guys happy International Podcasters Day. Had no idea that this is an actual thing, but about 5 minutes before it should be, but about 5 minutes before we went on air, I saw a little post somewhere that it is International Podcasters Day. So you guys being seasoned podcasters, I just wanted to, wish you all the best, and and thanks for your commitment to the industry. It's there's a lot of people looking up at you, so thanks for that, guys, and it's a pleasure podcasting with you on a day like today.
On a auspicious occasion.
Auspicious indeed.
And with that, we are 1 minute over an hour talking about the Alfred Dunhill Cup and the shield pipe, which may or may not be a collector's item, and which should definitely appear on the International's logo. But yeah, go and Google the shield pipe, guys. That's how you make your millions. Gentlemen, it's been fun, and I wish you good evening.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Cheers.